Hey guys, so you are starting your little mini lessons on your path. So anywhere on your path where it says a lesson, and I think it's written in blue, you are going to be watching a video recorded by me just to continue your learning. So today we're going to talk about skip counting and your brain. And I will tell you, your brain loves skip counting. That's why you can do it so easy. I want you to pause the video and I want you to skip count by fives into 100 and go. And then that was so easy. You already know how to do it. I bet you could do it by tens. Pause the video and skip count by tens and go. And that was super easy for your brain too. The reason why your brain loves skip counting is because it's put it into groups, and your brain really likes to put things in groups. So much so that we do it in everyday things. When you think about your phone number, I bet you didn't notice, it's not just a string of 7 numbers, it's grouped. You have 3 numbers and then you have 4 numbers. And we do that because our brain likes to group things to make it easier for us to remember. And skip counting is no different. So in your notebook, your math notebook, on the next blank page, I want you to title it skip counting, and I have that written at the top. You're not going to draw this, but you are going to write some things down. So to talk about skip counting, I've got a shelf here, and on this shelf I have some hats. And I want to come up with a way to count all the hats. However, I don't want to count them individually because that's going to take a long time, and as a 3rd grader with my 3rd grade brain, I know some shortcuts called skip counting that I can use. So first I want you to study this picture and tell me, does each shelf have the same number of hats? Well, looking at it, yeah, each shelf has 4 hats. How many hats are on each shelf? We just answered that question. There are 4 hats on each shelf. How many shelves are there? There are 3. 1 shelf, 2 shelves, 3 shelves. So we're going to use this to then skip count to figure out how many hats are on my bookshelf. So I have 3 groups of 4, which means I'm going to skip count then 4 times. I want you to write this part in your notebook. So we have 4, skip count, another group of 4, which is going to get us to 8, and then another group of 4, which is going to get us to 12. I knew this because in between these numbers is a distance of 4 numbers. In between these 2 numbers, it's a distance of 4 numbers. If you aren't super great at skip counting by 4s yet, use your fingers. Start at 4, make a fist, and then put your finger up for 4 more numbers. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's my next skip count. Again, I'm going to start at 8, and then put a finger up for 4 more numbers, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's how I'm going to skip count by my 4s. Whoop, too fast. So skip counting on a number line is going to work the same way. What I would like you to do is in your notebook, go ahead and draw a number line. Don't draw it all kinds of sideways. You already have nice straight printed lines already printed in your notebook. Go ahead and trace one of those, pink line to pink line. You can pause the video to do that. I went ahead and labeled my number line 0 through 20. So I want you to do the same thing and try to make your tick marks as even as you can. It might be helpful if you find your midpoint first, which will be 10, right? 10 is in between 0 and 20, right in the middle. And then do your tick marks on either side of that to make sure it's spaced out. Go ahead and pause the video to do that in your notebook. Alright, so we're going to look at our skip counts of 4s because that was what we used in our last example. So if I'm counting, I'm always going to start at 0. Some people like to start at 1. However, 1 is a whole number. And if I start at 1, that means I have one whole thing. That doesn't quite make sense. I start at nothing, and then I add my items, whatever I'm counting. So I'm going to start at 0, and I skip count to 4, because that's my 4 hats on the first shelf. Remember, if I'm writing, you are writing in your notebook as well. I'm going to skip count another jump of 4, and that's my second shelf. Some people, when we look at number lines, like to count the tick marks, but that's not what we're counting. We're actually counting the spaces in between. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my skip count of 4. If I do another skip count of 4, that brings me to 12. You can double check. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I do 4 skip counts of 4, I'm going to get to 16. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I do 5 skip counts of 4, it's going to get me to 20. So 5 skip counts of 4 is 20. You could also write this as a math equation. I just wrote it in English, but we're going to translate that to math. And the way we do that is we are going to be writing an equation. So I had 4 plus another group of 4 plus another group of 4 plus another group of 4 plus another group. I should have 5 total groups. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 20. So this bottom part is math language, and this top part is regular English. It's important as mathematicians to be able to translate English into math language and then math language back into English so we know what it is that we're talking about. Alright, last thing we're going to talk about are some skip counting strategies. If you're not good at skip counting and maybe you don't want to use your fingers or you don't have access to a number line, we're going to talk about some ways that you can get good at skip counting. I would like you to pause the video and go ahead and draw this 4x4 array. Alright, so I'm going to count my groups, because remember, skip counting is all about making those equal groups. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and circle your 4 groups on your array that you've drawn in your notebook. And to make that addition equation, or that math language equation, to represent our picture, I have 4 plus another group of 4 plus another group of 4 plus another group of 4. Now, again, I could skip count if I'm super good at skip counting by 4s. However, I'm not super great at it, and I know some of you probably aren't, so I'm going to find the things that I am good at, and I'm good at doubling. So I'm going to look at 4 plus 4. I can do that super quick in my head, and I know that 4 plus 4 is 8. Well, I have another set of doubles over here, 4 plus 4, which is 8. I'm just going to bring my plus sign down. And what I've done is just combine some numbers to make new numbers to make my equation a little easier for me. Now I just have to do 8 plus 8. I can count on, I can make it 10. Any strategy you know to solve 8 plus 8, that's going to give me 16. So I know 4 skip counts of 4 is going to give me 16. So there's some strategies you can use to skip count, as well as just some reminders of how skip counting works in your brain. All right, go ahead and continue your learning path.